So, the most anticipated movies of the year, let's go! Knives Out 3. This detective story that captivated the world overnight is set to continue. Shortly before the premiere of the first film in 2019, director Rian Johnson stated if the film succeeded commercially, it would mark the beginning of an entire franchise with private detective Benoit Blanc as the main character. In March 2029, Netflix acquired the rights to Knives Out 2 and Knives Out 3 for a massive sum of $469 million. In the third film, believe it or not, private detective Benoit Blanc will take on the investigation of another murder. The cast is yet to be known, but it's evident that Daniel Craig will definitely reprise his role. Mortal Kombat 2. Yes, this year will be filled with sequels, trilogies, and various continuations, remakes, and reboots, and Mortal Kombat is no exception. In the first film, just to remind you, Sonya, Jax, and Cole sought help from Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and Raiden. While training, they attempted to unlock their powers. Shang Tsung's attack was repelled, but at the cost of Kung Lao's life. Cole proposed uniting the champions to fight the Outer World. Sonya kills Kano, undoubtedly the most charismatic hero of this film, and receives his dragon mark. Cole fights Sub-Zero, calling upon the spirit of Hanzo, who helps secure victory. Meanwhile, Raiden trains new warriors and sends Cole to find Johnny Cage in Los Angeles. Essentially, this was a prequel created solely to introduce the audience to the characters and test whether investing a large budget into this story was worthwhile. The first full-fledged story will be seen this year. The filmmakers are banking heavily on The Boys star Karl Urban, as he played the role of Johnny Cage in the movie, around whom the plot will revolve. The main cast has long been announced, and the film has been shot. All that's left is to wait for the premiere. Spider-Man Beyond the Spiderverse. The first part of the story was fantastic, but the sequel turned out to be simply stunning, a level above the first film, which is extremely rare in the world of cinema. Originally planned for March 2024, the animated film Spider-Man Beyond the Spiderverse was removed from Sony's release schedule due to actor strikes and production difficulties, but the date remains, at least for now, in 2024. Producer Chris Miller noted that the team is working diligently on the film and that it will certainly be a satisfying conclusion to the trilogy. Madame Web. Sony Pictures has already prepared a film where women will become spiders. The roles are played by stars such as Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, Isabella Merced, and Celeste O'Connor. Johnson portrays Cassandra Webb, a paramedic from New York who survived drowning and gained the ability to see the future. She teams up with Julie Carpenter, Anne Corazon, and Maddie Franklin. Although Madame Web is not connected to the official MCU canon, Johnson's character could serve as a bridge to a potential crossover due to her multiversal history in Marvel Comics. Considering that the film introduces multiple female Spider-People and features well-known actresses, Sony hopes that Madame Web will help the studio get back on track after the setback with Morbius. The fan reaction to the first trailer is mixed, but the film might genuinely surprise audiences. Venom III. Tom Hardy returns to the role of Eddie Brock in the third Venom film, filming for which began in June 2023 but was affected by a strike. Hardy confirmed the resumption of work on the project on November 24th, also stating that this film would conclude the Venom series. At least in his portrayal of Venom, there are no exact details about the plot of the third installment yet, but it is known that Juno Temple and Chiwetel Ejiofor have joined the project. Fans expect the third film to explore the consequences of Eddie's presence in the MCU, especially after his appearance in the post-credits scene of Spider-Man No Way Home, highlighting the potential intertwining of these two universes. Whether something good will come out of it or not, we'll find out in November 2024. Kraven the Hunter, another long-awaited superhero project from Sony, introducing a new character in the gaming universe. Here they promise to show how Russian immigrant Sergei Kravenov becomes a big-game hunter and one of Spider-Man's sworn enemies. Aaron Taylor-Johnson returns to the Marvel Universe, but interestingly, not as Wanda Maximoff's brother Pietro, but as Kraven. Alongside him, the film features Ariana DeBose, Russell Crowe, and many other well-known stars. The first trailer mainly showcases the Hunter's brutality, but it will also delve into his human side through his origin and family history. Additionally, after a confrontation with a wild beast, Kraven will gain superpowers, promising unexpected changes to his character distinct from the comic book portrayal. Sony is clearly placing high stakes on this film. The premiere is set for August 29, 2024. Formula 1. The plot revolves around a former Formula One driver coming out of retirement to mentor a budding racer and turn them into a competitive athlete. The lead role will be played by Oscar winner for Best Supporting Actor Brad Pitt, who received the award for his portrayal of Cliff Booth in Quentin Tarantino's comedy-drama film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Interestingly, this upcoming film marks the actor's first work specifically created for the Apple TV Plus video service. For his role in this film, Brad Pitt received a salary of $30 million, making him one of the highest-paid actors. The premiere is scheduled for 2024. Inside Out 2. After a wait of 9 years, the much-anticipated sequel has finally arrived. In the first part, we saw the main character display 5 entirely different emotions. In the sequel, she's older, which means she experiences many more emotions. The movie's action still takes place in the mind of the teenage girl Riley, who this time will encounter 4 new emotions. For those planning to watch the animated movie in its original version, expect significant changes. If you're not aware, actress Amy Poehler received $5 million for her role as Joy in Inside Out 2, while the rest of the actors' salaries amounted to $100,000. In September 2022, reports emerged that Mindy Kaling and Bill Hader wouldn't reprise their roles as Disgust and Fear, respectively, due to dissatisfaction with their pay, which was only 2% of Poehler's fee. The premiere of Pixar's Inside Out 2 is set for June 14, 2024. Cruella II. The much-awaited continuation of the dramatic story centered around the enigmatic main character. This woman has a strong personality and doesn't always adhere to good intentions. She loves showcasing her individuality and emphasizing uniqueness. The first film told us how she became a successful entrepreneur, starting from the bottom and eliminating her enemies. While she has loyal friends, her adventures are just beginning and new dangers await her. Unlike the first movie, the second will be shot in the musical genre and, of course, will feature musicians. Several reputable publications reported a few months ago that Taylor Swift has been confirmed for a role in the new film Cruella II. The singer will portray a villainess in this movie. Into the Lost Lands, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, husband of Milla Jovovich and creator of the Resident Evil film franchise. This film is based on George R.R. Martin's story, In the Lost Lands. The main characters are the witch Grey Alice and a wanderer named Boyce, embarking on a journey through a ghostly wasteland into the Lost Lands in search of magical power that enables shape-shifting into a werewolf. The lead roles in the movie are portrayed by Dave Bautista and, of course, Milla Jovovich. The film has already been shot and is in post-production. Rush Hour 4. As early as December 2022, Jackie Chan confirmed that the fourth film was in development. Chris Tucker, like Chan, will return to his iconic role. Additionally, in 2019, Chris Rock posted a joint photo with Jackie Chan on Instagram, both actors showing the number 4. The screenplay for the fourth installment is handled by the franchise's regular writer, Ross LaManna, indicating that the style of the fourth film should resemble its predecessors. The premiere is expected in 2024. Planet of the Apes: New Kingdom. The plot seems intriguing, but it's too early to talk about the potential of this film. Many generations after the events of War for the Planet of the Apes, 2017, in an oasis where Caesar led his fellow apes, numerous ape clans have emerged and humans have become savage. The ape leader, Proximus Caesar, distorts Caesar's legacy to subjugate other clans in search of the last traces of human technology, while the chimpanzee Noah embarks on a dangerous journey with a young girl named May to alter the future destinies of both apes and humans. The first promotional trailers have already been officially released, and the premiere is scheduled for May 22, 2024. Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Unless the dates change, we might see this live-action adaptation hit the screens this year. The musical draws heavily from the 1996 animated film and adds additional story elements from Victor Hugo's original novel. Alan Menken and Stephen Schwartz, who composed the music for the original animated film, returned to write the music for this film. The Hunchback is set to join Disney's growing roster of live-action adaptations, standing alongside projects like Beauty and the Beast, Dumbo, Aladdin, The Lion King, Mulan, and The Little Mermaid. The current release date for the live-action remake of The Hunchback of Notre Dame is July 19, 2024. Maleficent III. Another highly anticipated Disney project with considerable potential for success. Despite previous statements from Jolie about stepping away from acting, she is set to reprise her role as the Dark Fairy in the third installment. While specific plot details remain undisclosed, fans speculate it could be a direct continuation of Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. In the sequel, the heroine Elle Fanning's character, Aurora, binds herself in marriage to Prince Philip. Maleficent, intriguingly, promises to return for the christening of the couple's future offspring. The myriad of possibilities arising from this promise adds suspense to the expected third chapter. Pokémon, Detective Pikachu sequel. In the first film, the story revolved around the mysterious disappearance of private detective Harry Goodman, investigated by his 21-year-old son, Tim. Tim gets help in his investigation from his father's talkative partner, the enigmatic Detective Pikachu. The premiere of Detective Pikachu took place in 2019. With a budget of $150 million, the film grossed over $433 million at the box office, making it the second highest-grossing video game adaptation. Initially, the studio intended to bring back Rob Letterman, who directed the first film, to helm the sequel, but ultimately Jonathan Kreisel will direct it. The plot of the Detective Pikachu sequel remains unclear, but the premiere is slated for 2024. Red 1. The highly anticipated movie starring Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans in lead roles. Plot details are kept under wraps, but it promises to be an adventure comedy set in different parts of the world, presenting a brand new universe to explore within the holiday genre. While it sounds grand and exciting, the true nature of the film will be revealed soon enough. The movie is set to premiere on Amazon Prime Video on November 15, 2024. Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. This film is dedicated to the backstory of the main character from Mad Max Fury Road. Plot details are kept under wraps, but there are speculations that the screenplay might incorporate elements from the Mad Max comic universe, specifically the story of Furiosa's abduction along with her mother from a matriarchal society. However, one thing is clear: it's going to be a tale of the fearless warrior's youth. The project was announced several years ago, sparking worldwide discussions and debates about the casting of Anya Taylor-Joy in the lead role. All that's left is to await the premiere, which is set for May 24th. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Guy Ritchie's film set during World War II, an adaptation of Damian Lewis's book starring Henry Cavill and Isa Gonzalez in lead roles. The action takes place in 1939, during the early stages of World War II. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill forms an operational group for sabotage operations behind enemy lines. The film has been in post-production for several months now, and the premiere is scheduled for this year. The Old Guard 2. The first film introduced us to a squad of immortal warriors from various eras battling evil in the name of humanity. In the modern world, they have to hide their true nature meticulously. Their leader, Andy, agrees to free more hostages, but the squad falls into a trap. Now, a former CIA operative has video evidence of their immortality. While he sells this to an ambitious pharmaceutical CEO, the warriors discover a new immortal. Netflix reported that the film was viewed 72 million times within the first 4 weeks after its release, making it one of the top 10 most successful original launches in the platform's history. A sequel was inevitable, and it's finally set to be released this year exclusively on Netflix. Mufasa, the Lion King. 5 years have passed since the premiere of Disney's remake, and the continuation of this story was inevitable, especially considering the box office earnings of $1,663 billion. The first film essentially copied the beloved animated movie, while the next film will serve as a prequel about the rise of one of the greatest lion pride kings in the African savannah. Rafiki tells Kiara, Simba and Nala's daughter, the story of her grandfather. Timon and Pumbaa, beloved by all, will also appear in the movie. At the D23 event by Disney, an exclusive preview of this film revealed that Mufasa was an orphaned cub. Additionally, Rafiki and Timon will narrate stories about Mufasa's past and his journey to becoming king. The film will be released on December 20th, 2024. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. The sequel was a mere question mark, and it was long known that it would be made. By the way, scenes after the credits of the second film clearly hinted at this. In April 2022, Jim Carrey, who played Dr. Robotnik in the first two films, announced a break in his acting career. After his statement, producers said that in case of the end of this hiatus, the role of Robotnik wouldn't be given to another actor. However, they hoped to craft such a high-quality script that would persuade Carrey to return to the role. Additionally, the film will introduce the character Shadow the Hedgehog, who debuted in the post-credits scene of Sonic 2 in cinema, but the actor for this role has not yet been chosen. Among other considerations, the film crew is considering Aubrey Plaza as a replacement for Robotnik in the antagonist's role. Sonic 3 in cinema will hit theaters on the same day as Mufasa, on December 20th, 2024. That's going to be a showdown. Whom do you bet on? The Fall Guy. The premiere of this Marvel, directed by David Leitch, will take place on May 3rd, 2024. The lead roles were played by Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, and Aaron Taylor Johnson. The story follows Colt, a life-worn stunt performer who reluctantly returns to the profession to help his ex-girlfriend Jodie shoot her first multi-million-dollar blockbuster movie. The situation gets complicated due to the disappearance of the lead actor. It's worth mentioning that the Australian government and the authorities of New South Wales contributed funds to the film's production, expecting potential benefits for the local economy because the shooting of this blockbuster will take place on their territory. Moreover, this helped employ a huge number of actors and extras from Australia. Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. The film is set 260 years before the events described in J.R.R. Tolkien's novel The Lord of the Rings and the film trilogy by Peter Jackson, telling the story of the Ninth King of Rohan, Helm Hammerhand, and the defense of Helm's Deep in Helm's Dyke. Kenji Kamiyama will direct this project. Not much global anticipation is expected from him, as he has primarily worked on anime and some lower-tier films for the last 20 years. The premiere is scheduled for December 12th, 2024. Wicked, Part 1, an epic musical fantasy film directed by John Chu. At least that's the plan. The main roles will be played by Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, Jonathan Bailey, and Jeff Goldblum. The story centers on two witches of Oz, Elphaba, an outcast girl with green skin destined to become the Wicked Witch of the West, and Glinda, an attractive and ambitious girl who eventually becomes the Good Witch of the North. It tells the tale of their coming of age, their rivalry for a shared love interest, and their struggle against the tyranny of the wizard who turned the citizens of Oz against the Green Witch. The premiere is scheduled for November 27th, 2024. Godzilla and Kong, The New Empire. Thanks to the box office success of Godzilla vs. Kong during the COVID-19 pandemic, in March 2022, Legendary announced the creation of a sequel, and filming began later that year. This new film continues the story of Godzilla and Kong. This time, they face a huge threat hidden in our world, questioning their existence and our safety. The film will narrate the giants' history, where they came from, reveal the secrets of their habitat, and their connection with humans through an ancient battle. The movie is set to premiere on April 12th, 2024. Gladiator II. The action of the film Gladiator unfolds in Rome during the rule of Emperor Commodus. The sequel, as planned in 2022, will take place 20 years later in the year 200. The main character of the film is Commodus's nephew, Lucius. In the lead role, the astounding actor, currently receiving awards worldwide and clearly not intending to stop, is none other than Paul Mescal. Alongside him, the cast includes Barry Keoghan, Denzel Washington, and Pedro Pascal. The release is set for November 22nd. Joker, Folie Deux in the first film, which remains the highest-grossing 18+ rated film in history. Madman Arthur Fleck managed to release all the demons from the residents of his hometown. The action of the second film will also take place in the fictional city of Gotham. The main character remains the same mad criminal Arthur Fleck, who adopted the alias Joker. According to preliminary information, the sequel begins in Arkham Asylum. Well, from the same place where the first film ended. Surprisingly, the sequel will be a musical, featuring numerous musical numbers, and as Lady Gaga excels in this realm, she was invited to play the Joker's lover. During filming, Gaga insisted that her character be called by name. Filming started in December 2022 and concluded in April 2023, with the premiere scheduled for October 4th, 2024. Beetlejuice II. The world always anticipates Tim Burton's films with bated breath, and this film is no exception. The original fantasy comedy was released back in 1988. The initial filming process was supposed to start in mid-2022. Later, the start date was pushed to May 10, 2023. Despite the 2023 Writers Guild of America strike, filming began the following day. Returning to their roles will be Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder, also appearing are Jenna Ortega, Monica Bellucci, and Willem Dafoe. Beetlejuice 2 will be released by Warner Bros. Pictures on September 6, 2024. Deadpool 3, the biggest Marvel Studios film introducing characters from the X-Men universe. A huge thanks to Ryan Reynolds for bringing Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine for the first R-rated Marvel film. We'll see Jackman in the comedic and canonical Wolverine suit for the first time when the movie hits screens in July 2024. But there are many other reasons not to miss the film. While many superhero movies rely on a nostalgic cast, Jackman's return seems more organic given Reynolds' role and their friendship. However, the first two Deadpool films were also fantastic departures from traditional superhero movies, with foul language and vibrant violence. Marvel fans will surely anticipate several funny or truly shocking moments. The project will be part of Phase 5 of the MCU, with a premiere set for July 26, 2024. Despicable Me 4. This animated film is, of course, a continuation of the Despicable Me 3 2017 and the sixth film in the franchise. It has been in the works for a full 5 years, and post-production is now wrapping up. The animation is nearly complete, but we'll only learn plot details after the first trailer is released. The release is planned for July 3, 2024. A Quiet Place, Day 1. The film's action takes place on the first day after the appearance of mysterious extraterrestrial monsters on Earth. These creatures are completely blind but possess acute hearing, quickly finding and killing their victims upon hearing them. Finally, we'll see in detail how it all began. The premiere is scheduled for June 27, 2024. The Garfield Movie. This computer-animated film is highly anticipated worldwide. Garfield made his debut in comics way back in 1978 and has managed to capture the hearts of millions of Americans and beyond in almost half a century. He could be considered one of the most unusual personalities in popular culture, embodying the traits of typical people. He dislikes work, Mondays, loves getting things for free, and so on. Development for the new Garfield animated film started back in 2016, and it will finally hit screens on May 24, 2024. Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. The film will tell the new adventures of the Ghostbusters. It is known to be set in New York, where the heroes will confront a monster capable of returning the entire planet to the icy epochs of the past. This is the first film in the Ghostbusters franchise created without the involvement of Ivan Reitman, who directed the first two films and produced all the films until his death in February 2022. The movie is set to premiere on March 29, 2024. The previous film, while recouping its budget, was still deemed weak by many viewers and critics. Perhaps Frozen Empire will change that. Fu Panda, the continuation of the adventures of the legendary dragon warrior, his faithful friends, and the mentor will hit theaters on March 7th. Becoming the spiritual mentor of the Valley of Peace and in need of a successor as the dragon warrior, Po meets a fox named Chen who doesn't like the idea of Po training her. As they grow closer, an evil witch known as the Chameleon summons numerous villains from the past. Seeking a way to defeat the Chameleon, Po and Chen leave the Valley of Peace and venture into a big city. Directed by Mike Mitchell, known for the last Shrek film and Trolls. Arthur the King. When you have to overcome 700 kilometers through the jungles and mountains of Ecuador, the last thing you need is a wandering, exhausted dog following you. But that's precisely what happened to Mikael Lindnord, captain of the Swedish adventure racing team, who was already anticipating victory. However, this encounter completely disrupted his plans. The global premiere of the new film featuring Mark Wahlberg will take place on February 22, 2024. Argylle, Ellie Conway, a reclusive writer of spy novels, rarely leaves her home. But one day she finds herself in the real world of espionage when the plots of her books become too similar to the actual dealings of a sinister underground syndicate. The cast is excellent, starring Henry Cavill, Sam Rockwell, Bryce Dallas Howard, and Bryan Cranston. The premiere is set for January 31st, 2024, followed by the film's release on Apple TV+. Challengers. No one really knows what the film is about, but everyone is already familiar with a couple of frames from this movie, as the scene with Zendaya and two guys has become a super popular meme. The plot revolves around the wife and coach of a famous tennis player going through a bad patch, who signs him up for the Challenger competition where he will compete against his wife's former lover. The film was shot in the first half of 2022 and is set to be released on April 26, 2024. Nosferatu. Robert Eggers' film is a gothic tale of a girl's obsession and a terrifying vampire who falls in love with her, bringing unspeakable horror upon her. The cast is perfectly suited for the vampire roles: Bill Skarsgård, Nicholas Hoult, Lily Rose Depp, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, and Willem Dafoe. This will be one of the closing films of the year, hitting theaters on December 25, 2024. Mickey 17. The screenplay is based on Edward Ashton's science fiction novel Mickey 7. The main character is a robot involved in the colonization of the icy world of Niflheim. He is a retrievable employee, meaning his mind is loaded into a new body after death. After his sixth death, Mickey begins to realize his differences from other employees. During his seventh mission, he temporarily loses contact with the base, and upon his return discovers that a replacement has been created for him. Directed by Bong Joon-ho, known for projects he's confident in, such as Snowpiercer and Parasite. Dune, Part 2. Based on Frank Herbert's novels, this two-part story is finally coming to a close, promising a worthy finale. Paul Atreides continues his journey, joining forces with Chani and the Fremen, seeking revenge for those who destroyed his family, and trying to prevent a terrible future only he can foresee. Director Denis Villeneuve hinted at the possibility of a trilogy, but the creation of a third film depends on the success of Dune 2. If a third film is made, it will be based on the second novel in Frank Herbert's Dune Chronicles, Dune Messiah. The premiere of the second film is set for March 13, 2024. Which of these films are you most looking forward to? Tell in the comments under this video right now. My name is Dan K, and this is the DK Now channel. See you soon. Bye.